Hello and welcome to yet another edition of NDTV World. This is an important day. It's the day where both Donald Trump and US President Joe Biden clashed. This was the first debate of the 2024 presidential elections. We have with us an esteemed guest. He is the editor-in-chief of the Foreign Policy magazine. We will be speaking about the debate and what kind of effect it can have in the coming months. So to start off, Ravi, can you tell us what was the highlight of the debate, and who do you think came out on top?
Well, there's a saying that Bill Clinton popularized in America that strong and wrong beats weak and right. And it seems like that might have happened today in that President Biden faltered. He stumbled, he stuttered, he seemed to have a cold, his voice seemed meek and feeble. And in a sense, he confirmed many of the worst fears of even his most ardent supporters, which is that he is old, and he seemed old. And I think Trump, on the other hand, lied a lot. A lot of what he said, if it were to be fact checked, would be proven to be incorrect. But it didn't matter in a sense because the optics of the debate was such that Trump came across in comparison to be more strong, to be younger seeming, even though he is only 3 years younger.
So you mentioned that there's a possibility that Biden could be replaced. So could you tell us, is there a provision in the Constitution that it could happen?
I'm not saying a replacement of him as president. I'm just saying as a nominee for the Democratic Party in the 2024 election. There is indeed a possibility that at the Democratic convention, when delegates need to confirm their nominee for the Democratic Party, there may yet be a scenario where Democrats may want to nominate a different candidate. Now, of course, we don't know how this is going to play out.
Will Biden's dismal performance in this debate give Trump a bigger opportunity to become the next president?
Trump was already in most polls leading by a very small amount. Obviously, a lot can change between now and election day. But one thing is clear, this performance by President Biden was disappointing. And you can imagine that if there were any independents or undecided people in the United States at all, they may have misgivings voting for a person who comes across in public as hesitant and stuttering as President Biden did come across tonight. It sounds cruel and awful to say that, but that is indeed what many people are now saying. If you switch on CNN, important commentators, supporters of President Biden are quite openly worrying about his ability to survive another 4 years in office were he to win.
So, Ravi, as expected, foreign policy was also discussed during the debate. Do you think the topic was properly covered by both the candidates?
No, foreign policy out of about 100 minutes of debate came up for maybe 8 or 9 minutes, a very negligible amount. Both candidates kind of stuck to their guns, but whether it was Ukraine, whether it was the Middle East, issues of substance were not really discussed. Again, this was a stuttering, halting debate, difficult to follow, not easy to understand. The surprising thing, however, is that China didn't directly come up in the questioning. China came up organically when the candidates brought it up in terms of the deficit, in terms of tariffs on China.
So, lastly, I would like to ask you, come November when the elections do happen, who do you think has the better chance, Joe Biden or former President Donald Trump?
I'm not a political prognosticator. I think if you follow if you follow the polls, the polls suggest that Trump has a better shot. If you follow the betting markets during the debate, there was a real divergence where Trump's chances dramatically improved on the betting markets, just based on what people were watching and seeing on the debate stage. But again, as someone who follows foreign policy closely, I am not a domestic political commentator. It's very difficult to say how this turns out. But again, I'll come back to the fact that the headline for me is that the Democratic Party is really worried by what they saw